Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you could see me. I tried to put the light on. I'm not sure if it's working that great. So as I told you last week, we were going to be making a bottle. So you should have grabbed a water bottle of any size, depending on the size bottle you use. Miss LeVasseur is going to be using this little tiny one. If you use something bigger, like a water bottle, like a Poland Spring size bottle, you might want to double up on the items you put inside. Okay, so I'm also going to be using rice. Okay, so if you don't have rice in your house, you could use cat litter. I know it sounds weird, but you could use that. You could use like orzo pasta, something small. Okay, so that's kind of the point. The rice is really tiny and helps move around in the jar real nice. It's got to be extremely dry. Make sure that whatever you used, you've dried it out really good, because any moisture in there will ruin and make everything that's in there sticky and gross. Okay, so with your bottle, you need to be sure you had a lid that goes back on it. You might want to glue this lid on later. After all is said and done, if you don't have glue, no big deal. Just be careful, if you're moving it around, that the lid doesn't just pop off, because everything's coming out. And we don't want to make any messes at home right now, right? Okay, so here we go. Miss LeVasseur also is going to be using a funnel. You could use a piece of paper. You just take the paper and you roll it so that it goes inside the container. I just so happen to have one of these, okay? At work, I would have used a piece of paper to make a funnel. I also have all these cool beads with letters on them. So what I suggested to you was to use small items. So like if you found some change, maybe you could put some change in there. You could put some trinkets from a jewelry box. Just make sure you ask for permission before you put all these things inside this container, because you got to be sure that they're going to be usable. If you see the one I made at school, I did the entire ABC. So I put it ABC, hide and seek. So I would literally have to turn this, and I'd start with the letter A, and then I would keep going, and then I find B, and then I find C. You get it? So for your items, you would make a list. So let's say if you had a small container, maybe 10 items, if it's really tiny items. And then there's, if you used a bigger container, bigger items, more items. Okay, so I'm sure if you've ever seen those already pre-made ones, like at the Toys R Us and stuff, they put feathers in there. They put Monopoly looking pieces. So if you have an old game board that you're not using anymore, you could use those little pieces. Depending on the opening too, the hole size, this hole's pretty big, so I could fit like larger things in there. Like I could do coins and then try to like make math problems. So I could put a quarters and some nickels and pennies and dimes. And then I could, say, try to find 35 cents. What would you use to make 35 cents? So if you found the quarter first and then maybe found a nickel, what else could you try to find? 5 pennies or another nickel, right? So it's kind of like a nice fun math game if you use coins. But in my case, I'm going to be using beads, okay? And I'm going to spell out all the members in my family. And I'm going to do it by using first names only and find each letter to the first names. Okay, so like I said, I just so happen to have these beads. But if I didn't, I would probably use some of the trinkets. I just cleaned out my jewelry box because I had nothing better to do. And I would have used all those cute little trinkets, earrings that I'm missing, maybe even throw in some letters. But it'd be fun to share with a friend. I could make the list of all my items, hand it off to my brother or sister or my mom and dad or whoever I live with, and say, hey, here's my list of items. Can you find them? And so they would have to play with your game that you created, which is really cool. It's a shareable thing. It's also really good to relax. So it keeps your mind off things. So like if you're stressing out and if you're having a bad day or if you're just tired of being home, then this would be fun to just kind of like keep your mind off things. How we've been reading those books and we're learning to relax. This is a great way to just kind of relax. And the sound is really cool. And it moves around in the container. So you put your items okay, in the container, like so. I didn't do all the names. You get my idea though, okay? Then you would take your funnel or your paper funnel and you would pour. You do not want to fill it to the top because you need some air to roam around in there so that when you move it around, it'll be flexible. So go slow, maybe have a friend help. Miss LeVasseur's puppy's watching right now. She wants to eat this. See how it's getting so close to that top? Remember, it depends on what you have inside of it. I'm just going to put this in there and then pour some out. See how I went right to the top? Didn't leave very much room for movement. So I'm going to put some of this back. See, Lagatha? What are you doing? Okay, so I'd say about that much room. Kind of like I have in the other one, okay? A little bit of room for movement. You want to be able to shake it around, get in there, see what's there. If it's too tight, it won't move around as much, okay? So you see how the rice works? It's really nice and loose. Most of us have rice in the house. Again, ask for permission when you're using any of these things because we don't want, oh, like this said, we don't want you to get in trouble for using something that, you know, you could have been eating or items that could have been used for something else, okay? So I think it's a very fun, creative project you could do with your siblings, you could do with your family, and then you can all share your containers and do a little seek and find. I'm not sure what to call it yet, but if you have a good, more creative name, I want you to put it in the comments box below. And give me a thumbs up if you like this idea, okay? All right, so next time on my channel this week, I'm going to be making a rain stick. Now, Miss Lisa might be doing one too. I don't know yet, but I know that was one of my favorite things to do when I taught after school. So you could use a paper towel board, cardboard, and I'll show you how to use 2 empty toilet paper ones. Don't be wasting toilet paper just to get the cardboard, okay? So you definitely need either a paper towel. I'll be using the paper towel, but I'll show you how to use 2 toilet paper ones. It's just as easy. You'll need tape. You'll need a little bit of aluminum foil, more rice or pasta, okay, like elbow pasta, small pasta, and your creativity. You'll be painting or coloring with crayons. It's all made from like recyclable stuff. So it's like trash turned into treasure. And then I also own a real rain stick. So I'll show you how that looks and sounds and then how this one looks and sounds compared to that one. Okay. So until next time, I hope you enjoy this little project. Super easy. If you have any questions, comment down below and Miss LeVasseur will keep track. In the meantime, be safe and I will see you next time. Mwah.